Hey there, it's Michelle Meshover. Today I'm going to show you a game that I created in MinecraftEDU for my 4th grade math students. This game is going to be an introduction into patterns, but using their ideas that they already have about factors and multiples and arrays. So we're coming up on my structure over here. Structure 1 is this right in front of you. The students would have to examine the structure and figure out what the pattern is. Then they would be asked to create the next structure in the pattern. And then they would be asked to go into a Google Doc that they would have that goes along with this Minecraft activity and create an in and out function box to represent the pattern that I've given as well as the ones that they've added on. Afterward, they would stroll over to structure number 2 and examine the structure that I gave in front of them. However, part of the structure is missing, so they would need to figure out what the missing part of the pattern is. So it would go 8, 16, not sure, 24. So they need to figure out what the missing one was and build it. Then figure out how many would be in the next part of the pattern and build that. Lastly, for structure 2, they would be asked to go into their Google Doc and use their math vocabulary to describe the pattern that they saw and created. So hopefully they use words like factors, multiples, increasing, multiplied, things like that. Structure number 3, they would need to examine the arrays that I have made for them and then create the next 2 in the pattern, as well as describing in the Google Doc how the image, just looking at it visually, helped them with figuring out what the pattern could be. So if it's a descending pattern, knowing that it's either going to be subtraction or division. Because it is becoming less. Also, this is interesting because the next 2 numbers that they would need to build are 12 and 8, and 12 and 8 can be displayed in multiples of ways. So they have some choice within what they want their array to look like. The last part of my assignment would be to create their own pattern using the material of their choice. I chose to use these diamond blocks because it's a really great way to see the actual array since it has an outline, but they can pick whatever material they want and then make a sign next to theirs so we know it's theirs for a classmate to then eventually solve. And then they would find one of their classmates to describe their pattern in the Google Doc. I really love how this Minecraft activity allows students to show representational models of arrays, and so instead of using Unifix cubes in the classroom, they're able to build actual models that aren't going to go away. So when we use Unifix cubes in the classroom, they need to break them down for the next class or just to be put away in general. And this doesn't really allow me to examine it, see where their misconceptions are, and then give feedback. So having them stationary within this game is really helpful. And I'd be able to assess them based on their completion and accuracy of those models, as well as in the Google Doc, their explanation behind them. When it comes to my rubric 4.0, I think that I'm definitely meeting the digital component since I have a Google Doc as well as the Minecraft world. However, I'm not sure if I'm really meeting the transfer part where there's real-world application, because even though these look like walls of buildings, they're not actually anything other than a representational model of an array. So I think that's where this activity lacks, where there's not really a connection with that everyday life scenario, but it could be incorporated in the future. All right, have a great day playing.